For as long as most of us have been flying, the commercial airline industry has really been dominated by just two giants. But what if I told you there's a new challenger on the scene, one that's aiming to shake up the entire global market?
So that's the big question we're diving into today. After all these years of a two-company race, is that finally about to change? Let's get into it.
Okay, so to really get what this new challenger means, we first have to understand the champions. For decades, it's basically been a two-plane race. On one side, you have the American icon, Boeing. They started way back in 1916, and their 737 family became the best-selling commercial jet of all time. Then in 1970, Europe's Airbus came along and said, not so fast, with their incredibly successful A320 family. And together, they created this duopoly that honestly seemed unbreakable. Well, maybe until now. And here it is. This is the challenger. Meet the C919, the brand new, very ambitious jet from China's state-owned manufacturer COMAC. Now, this thing was a long time in the making. The project officially kicked off all the way back in 2009. It then took 8 years just to get a prototype into the air, and another 5 years before they made their first delivery. So yeah, this has been a marathon, not a sprint. So how does it stack up against the competition? Well, the C919 is designed to compete head-to-head. Its passenger capacity is right in the same ballpark as the 737 MAX and the A320neo. Its range is a little shorter, which actually makes it perfect for those really dense domestic and regional routes. But the most interesting detail, it's the engine. It's powered by the LEAP 1C, a Western engine from the exact same family used by its rivals. And that tells you a whole lot about its current dependencies. Look, building a new plane is one thing, but actually breaking into a market that's been locked down for decades, that's a whole other challenge. But it seems like a perfect storm of opportunity might just be brewing for COMAC. The timing here is just wild. Boeing has been dealing with some very public, very serious quality control problems and major delivery delays. At the same time, Airbus is doing so well that its order book for the A320neo is basically sold out for the rest of the decade. Throw in global supply chain chaos that's hitting both of them, and all of a sudden, there's a real opening for someone new to step in. And that opening in the market, it's already led to a pretty big first step, an order for 30 planes. Yep, an order for 30 jets from Gallop Air, which is a new startup airline in Brunei. This is a huge deal. It's the C919's very first international order, which is a critical step to prove to the world that this isn't just a plane for China's domestic market. But let's be real, breaking into the global big leagues is an uphill battle. The C919 is flying straight into some serious headwinds, and it's sparking a really fierce debate about its future. Because, having the right specs and good market timing, that's only part of the equation. The plane's success really boils down to 3 huge things: getting certified by international regulators, earning the trust of both airlines and passengers, and somehow navigating a super polarized public debate. So on the skeptical side, you see comments just like this one from an online forum. People are worried about unproven economics, the lack of a global support network, and just big question marks around long-term reliability. For an airline, these are absolutely massive risks to consider. But then on the flip side, you see a totally optimistic take. Other people are arguing that with Boeing's issues and Airbus's huge backlog, the C919 has a golden opportunity to slide right in and become the third option for airlines that just can't wait years for new planes. The debate also gets into these wider perceptions about quality. This user brings up the phrase tofu construction, which is used in China to describe poorly made buildings. It's their way of expressing a really deep-seated distrust in the manufacturing quality of something as complex as a passenger jet. But here is the killer counter-argument. As this person points out, people said the exact same thing about Chinese electric cars. They were kind of dismissed at first, and now they're dominating the global market. So the huge question is, are we just seeing history repeat itself, but with airplanes? Now, beyond public opinion, there's the single biggest wall the C919 has to climb. It has not yet been certified by America's FAA or Europe's EASA, and without those 2 approvals, its access to the world's biggest and richest aviation markets is just completely blocked, period. To really wrap your head around the C919, you have to understand that for China, this is about way more than just building and selling an airplane. The C919 is a textbook example of something called an import substitution strategy.
The basic idea is really simple. Instead of buying critical technology from other countries, you build the capability to make it yourself. It's a game plan aimed squarely at self-reliance.
And that right there is the bigger picture. This plane is a crown jewel of the Made in China 2025 policy. The end goal isn't just to build a plane, but eventually to replace every single foreign part with a domestic one, right down to building their own jet engine, the CJ1000A. This is a quest for total technological independence.
So that leaves us with the ultimate question. The C919 is facing huge challenges with trust, with regulations, and with global logistics. But it's also backed by the full power of a national strategy, and it's entering a market where the two giants look more vulnerable than they have in decades. So, is this it? Is the era of the unchallenged duopoly finally coming to an end? Well, only time will tell.